We talked Geelong Football Club over the last 50 years. The name Bob Davis is synonymous with that football club. It's my pleasure today to say welcome, Bob Davis.
Oh, thank you, Eric, and it's very nice to be out on the... I don't often get out on the Gardenia Park anymore.
not as quick as you used to be either.
No, and find it a little bit more difficult to get through the gate.
Yeah. Bob, you came here in the late 40s and...
1948.
48.
I signed in 47.
So you came here and settled into the club very nicely to the point 51, 52 you were a member of two wonderful premiership sides.
Well, yes, we were very fortunate. When I signed for Geelong in 47, I think we'd won 3 games in about 3 years, to be truthful. And Tommy Quinn was the coach, and we 48. Well, something that's never been done in the history of football. 3 recruits came. They won the best and fairest, second best and fairest, and third best and fairest in the club. They all went on to be all Australian. They all went on, no, not all. One won the Brownlow medal. One captain Australia in as far as all Australian teams go. No, it was a fantastic year for the club. Bernie Smith, Bruce Morrison, and one Robert Davis.
Well done indeed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pleased you brought that fact to light. But
well, it is a very unusual fact, isn't it?
And a finer gentleman, Bernie and
Bruce Morrison.
Bruce, and I had the pleasure of meeting you many years later. But let's go to... there's been a topic, I've had a number of the players from your era on this program.
Yes.
An argument seems to be, some reckon yes, some reckon no. 53 a better team than 51, 52. What do you think?
Well, we were probably more consolidated. I mean, we were lucky. We jumped up in 1950 to be third. And then in 51 we won it. We were a young team but very enthusiastic and some very good players. And then 52 Jeff Williams came along. There's another great record. Fella straight into the team, won the best and fairest in his first year, in a team of absolute champions virtually. So we picked up a bit more there. And then in 53 we were in the middle of winning a record that'll never be beaten if we go to the year 5,000 playing AFL football, 26 consecutive games without a loss. Now that's, that really is something. And we were in superlative form, and just about here in 1953, just about in this exact position, we came in at 3/4 time and Hickey said, we're a bit behind. We said, don't worry about it. We'll soon get it. It was Collingwood. With about 5 games to go. And for some, they were sitting down and tired and everything like that. We're just prancing around like young stallions thinking how good we were going to be. And they beat us. And then not only that, they beat us in the second semi, and then they beat us in the grand final. I don't know for the life of me what happened, but I do think that 53 was probably... We were probably the best team. We may have got perhaps a fraction overconfident, Eric.
A bit ahead of yourself,
A bit ahead of ourselves. That's what they say nowadays. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Bob, let's go forward to 1960. You took over the coaching role. We were lucky enough to win a reserves premiership. 61, we won a night premiership.
Yes.
62, tied a preliminary final, lost the replay.
Against Carlton, yes. Only by a kick in both games.
At 1960, did you, Leo O'Brien and others sit down and say, look, we can win a premiership in 3 or 4 years, knowing who you were going to look for to supplement the team?
Well, in actual fact, Eric, in those days, in 61, the night premiership, the second premiership it was called, the ones that didn't make the 8, the 8 that didn't make it, they played for a night premiership at South Melbourne on the Monday after the day grand final. But you had to have your team in the paper on the Friday, and there they were, the day premiership sides and the night premiership sides. And I was down in that little room there where we used to be, and I said to O'Brien, we should be playing in the day premiership. He said, well, why aren't we? I said, because we haven't got a ruckman. We've got to take the ball from the half-back line and get it up. He said, well, we better get one. Do you know one? I said, yeah, I know 2 that I wouldn't mind. He said, who are they? And I said, Neil Curley, but he's not really my man. He's not what I really want. I said, the other fella's Polly Farmer. He said, who is he? I said, oh, he plays for Western Australia. Not a bad sort of a play. He said, well, what do you think about it? I said, well, we'll get him on the phone. See what. So we got him on the phone in about 5 minutes, and I said, Paul, it's Bob Davis here. Yes? I said, I want you to come over and show him how well you can play. He said, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I said, well, we're going to Kira on an end-of-season trip in about 7 or 8 days. He said, I could do that. I said, so we made arrangements. We took him to Queensland with us. He'd been with us about 10 days, and when we were coming home, I went to him and said, what do you think about it? He said, it's all right. I said, what do you think of the team? He said, it'll be all right. And I said, would you like to play? He said, yes. So we shook hands, and the rest is history, because while I was the coach, I know who won the 63 premiership.
Absolutely, and that's something they'll never take away from you. Bob,
that's right.
We're going to run out of time. You've had a successful playing, coaching, now certainly a media career, a wonderful life in football.
Well, football has been marvellous to me, Eric. I mean, I've just, you saw me, I was signing autographs over in the shop over there for people, you know, and the lady said, do you need any money for I said, look, the football has been sensational for me, and I just love it, and I love coming down, and I love still being part of the Geelong Football Club.
It's an absolute pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you very much for your time today, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Lovely to see you, Eric. One of our old players. Look, we all got to stick together, don't we?
Absolutely. That's been Bob Davis.